Tonight, on First at 9 this Friday, the 31st of October 2025. Leaders of tomorrow. Education reforms to bolster leadership among students, the Prime Minister asserts. In peril, IGP arrives in Parliament to ease MP safety concerns. Asserts the President and Public Security Minister will be made aware of MP security requests. Called off. GMOA calls off strike action scheduled for today over arbitrary transfers. Discussions with Health Minister reap successful outcomes. Raising the bar. Sri Lanka Customs surpasses the 2 trillion rupee mark in tax revenue collection for the year.
Kalin baby soap රුපියල් 90කට. Kalin baby podi හැමෝටමයි.
Homelands Expo 2025 Property Investment Forum and Exhibition. Join us on 11th October, Hilton, Colombo, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 0710 111 444.
This is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9 on the Derana News channel. I'm Aditya Singh joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. Brought to you by the only Sri Lankan media network to rise to the pinnacle across all media platforms, recognized as the best by every survey and beloved by the people. Now on your top story tonight, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuri asserts that the soon-to-be implemented education reforms will inspire Sri Lankan students to take up leadership and face ever-evolving global challenges. The Prime Minister made these remarks while ceremoniously handing over the newly constructed multi-ethnic trilingual national school in Polonnaruwa today.
The official handover of the newly constructed multi-ethnic trilingual national school in Kaduruwela Polonnaruwa was commissioned to the public under the patronage of Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuri. The construction of the school was funded by the Government of India. The handover ceremony was attended by distinguished guests including the Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Santosh Jha and Deputy Minister of Housing, Construction and Water Supply T.B. Sarath.
You are all aware that we are in the midst of implementing decisive education reforms. From 2026, new curricula will be introduced to grades 1 and 6. However, these transformational reforms transcend simple amendments made to curricula. Through our education system, we expect to provide good education to all students without any discrimination, while inculcating the skills demanded by the rapidly evolving global market. These reforms will inspire the next generation to take up leadership. At the moment, there is a huge chasm between our vision and the ground reality. We will intervene and address concerns stemming from infrastructural deficiencies and teacher shortages. While being involved in such efforts, we will always strive to provide good education to all students equally. During my recent visit to India, I had the opportunity of visiting a certain school. It was not an elite school by any means. Seeing a school like that thrive under those circumstances made me wonder about the heights to which Sri Lankan schools could soar. This thought occurred to me because the vicinity of that Indian school is quite unsafe for children. Students at that school neither have a place to study at home nor do they have internet facilities. The school, which operates till 8 p.m, provides those facilities. I am aware of certain teachers who go above and beyond in rendering their services. The ministry must set up a platform that allows teachers to share their creative ideas on school education.
Speaker of Parliament Dr. Jagat Wickramaratne summoned IGP Priyantha Veerasuriya to Parliament today and instructed Sri Lanka's top law enforcement officer to bolster security of MPs with threats against their lives. During a discussion on the matter in Parliament today, IGP Priyantha Veerasuriya asserts that the President as well as the Minister of Public Security will be made aware of all security requests made by MPs.
Inspector General of Police Priyantha Veerasuriya was summoned by Speaker of the House Dr. Jagat Wickramaratne today. The Speaker's decision to summon the IGP comes hot off the heels of repeated concerns raised by certain members of Parliament on increasing threats to their personal safety. The MPs concerned then requested the Speaker to direct the IGP to appear in Parliament for a special discussion on the safety of MPs. The discussion, which spanned over 2 hours, was chaired by Speaker of Parliament Dr. Jagat Wickramaratne with Opposition Leader Sajith Premadasa in attendance. attendance. Several government and opposition MPs too attended the discussion. At the special discussion, opposition MPs yearned for a safe environment conducive to uninterrupted political campaigns. MPs also called on the Speaker of Parliament to sanction a report assessing all relevant threats. The MPs further requested necessary action to be taken based on the findings of the report. Responding to the grievances aired by opposition MPs, Speaker of Parliament Dr. Jagat Wickramaratne noted that the IGP is aware of all security requests forwarded by MPs with purported threats against them. The Speaker further added that measures have been taken to address concerns of the relevant MPs. Drawing attention to the enhanced security provided to certain MPs, the Speaker particularly noted that certain measures already implemented have transcended policy decisions taken by the government pertaining to security details granted to members of Parliament. In response to requests made during today's discussion, Inspector General of Police Priyanthawira Surya noted that President Anukumara Dissanayake and Minister of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs Ananda Vijayapala will be informed of the requests made thus far. The threats against Samaga Jana Balawega parliamentarian Jagat Withana were also discussed at the meeting.
The opposition leader raised concern on why adequate security is not provided to government and opposition MPs. He particularly inquired about the threats against my life and the remarks recently made over it. The opposition leader condemned the remarks so made on the threats against my life. The opposition leader condemned the remarks so made on the threats against my life. He went on to acknowledge that several groups have threatened me. They did agree at the discussion to pay particular attention to my concern. The Inspector General and the Speaker of Parliament agreed to provide adequate security whenever needed by any MP. The opposition pointed out the necessity of keeping the public appraised of the security concerns. The opposition also pointed out that the public representatives and state sector workers must also be aware of these threats. The Speaker's and the IGP's responses to the concerns raised were positive. I can ensure my own safety. I prefer if security of government MPs can be bolstered. They will have to be protected from the public very soon.
Yadia T5 scooter samaga angal 32 LED TV එකක් නොමිලේ.
The World Education Fair 2025 entrance free. Register now.
Now, the Criminal Investigation Department today informed court that it intends to obtain a 90-day detention order against the attorney detained under suspicion of aiding and abetting the murder of Ganemulla Sanjeeva. Meanwhile, notorious criminal Bako Saman's wife, Shadika Lakshani, was released on bail by the Colombo Chief Magistrate today.
The wife of the organised criminal Bako Saman, Shadika Lakshani, was arrested alongside Underworld Don Kehel Padme in Nepal and was later extradited to Sri Lanka. The suspect, who was then held in remand custody, was produced before the Colombo Magistrates Court today. After considering the facts presented, the Colombo Chief Magistrate Asanka S. Boduragama ordered the suspect to be released on bail, asserting that the prosecution had failed to present sufficient evidence to justify her detention in remand custody under Section 54(1) of the Poisons, Opium and Dangerous Drugs Ordinance. Accordingly, the suspect was released on 3 surety bonds of 2 million rupees each and a cash bond of 50,000 rupees. The Colombo Chief Magistrate imposed an overseas travel ban on the suspect and instructed her to report to the Criminal Investigation Department every Sunday morning. The case is set to be taken up again on the 22nd of January. Meanwhile, the Criminal Investigation Department today appraised the Colombo Chief Magistrate on the latest developments pertaining to Kehel Padme's investigation. Appearing in court, CID officials informed the magistrate that they intend to obtain a 90-day detention order to further question the attorney-at-law arrested under suspicion of aiding and abetting the murder of notorious criminal Ganemulla Sanjeeva. The suspect, named Thamara Kumari Aberatna, is currently being held in remand custody for 72 hours by the CID. The CID revealed that the suspect has provided several items to the suspected murderer, including 2 ties, a lawyer's car pass, a copy of the Criminal Procedure Code and the Penal Code. The attorney in question has also allegedly provided the murder photographs required to forge the Bar Association identity card. The police suspect that the attorney in question passed on the copy of the Criminal Procedure Code to Ishara Sewandi, who concealed the pistol in it and delivered it to the suspected murderer. The attorney is suspected of being a long-time acquaintance of Padme, with the initial introduction being made by another notorious criminal named Darun. The suspected attorney is also alleged to have maintained direct contact with several known criminals, including Harakata and Kudusalindu, even when they were abroad. Police have seized 2 mobile phones belonging to the suspect. Meanwhile, investigations also revealed that KL Badara Padme's revelations led to the recovery of a micro-pistol. The investigators suspect the micro-pistol to have been used in criminal activities carried out in Galle. The magistrate ordered the micro-pistol to be submitted to the government analyst for further examinations. Additionally, the CID added that further investigations are being launched into the 5 actresses suspected to be affiliated with KL Badara Padme. The officers claim that the investigations will determine if the suspects were engaged in drug trafficking, money laundering, or any associated criminal activity.
Meanwhile, 3 individuals linked to KL Badara Padme's drug network have been arrested in the Palliyavatta area of Wattala with a stock of crystal methamphetamine valued approximately at 35 million rupees. The arrests were made during a special raid conducted under the government's new nationwide anti-narcotics initiative, the Ratama Ekata National Agenda, aimed at eradicating the growing menace of drugs. According to the police, 971 suspects were apprehended in island-wide raids carried out yesterday as part of the large-scale drug prevention operation.
A stock of crystal methamphetamine worth approximately 35 million rupees was seized in Palliyavatta area of the Wattala Police Division during a raid conducted yesterday afternoon. The operation was carried out under the national operation Ratama Ekata, the government's new program launched to eradicate the drug menace wreaking havoc across the country. During the raid, officers recovered 2 kilograms and 165 grams of crystal methamphetamine from the suspect's possession. 3 individuals involved in drug trafficking were arrested, including an associate of the notorious organized criminal and drug trafficker KL Badara Padme. The arrested suspects, aged 21, 25 and 28, are residents of Palliyavatta, Avarakotuwa and Galagahaduwa in Wattala. They were produced before the Velisara Magistrates Court today and remanded for 7 days. Meanwhile, the Anuradhapura police have arrested a close associate of the now incarcerated drug trafficker known as Raul Kumara, who is reportedly operating an extensive drug network from the Busa High Security Prison. The 33-year-old suspect was taken into custody during a raid conducted in the Korakahawava area of Pandulagama, Anuradhapura under the national operation Ratama Ekata. Police recovered 50 grams of heroin and 50 grams of crystal methamphetamine from the suspect's possession during the raid. Meanwhile, in a police raid conducted in Tanamalvilla, 4 suspects were arrested, with one of them being suspected of injecting local youth with crystal methamphetamine. During the operation, officers seized 6 grams and 85 milligrams of methamphetamine along with a stock of moonshine and cannabis. So far, the police have arrested 971 individuals in 987 raids carried out across the country as part of the Ratama Ekata national operation. The police media division claims that detention orders have been issued against 22 suspects. Additionally, 10 of those apprehended have been referred for rehabilitation, reflecting ongoing efforts to address both criminal and social aspects of drug-related offences.
Now, on the subject of law and order, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's Chief Security Officer Neville Vaniarachi was arrested in connection with an investigation into the alleged accumulation of illicit assets and property worth 28 million rupees was granted bail today by the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Kuchaveli Pradesha Sabha, A. Mubarak, and his driver were arrested today in Trincomalee by the Bribery Commission for allegedly accepting a bribe of 500,000 rupees to issue a land permit.
Neville Vaniarachi, the Chief Security Officer of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, was produced before the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court today. Vaniarachi was arrested following an investigation into the alleged accumulation of illicit assets and property worth 28 million rupees. Officials from the Bribery Commission claimed that 5 buildings belonging to the suspect had also been inspected, revealing information about several undisclosed assets. The Bribery Commission further stated that the suspect had obtained licenses under identities of different people to operate buses and that investigations were conducted into the income generated through those operations. Counsel appearing on behalf of the Bribery Commission also requested that the suspect be remanded, arguing that releasing him on bail could hinder the investigation. President's counsel Kalinga in the Thissa, representing Vaniarachi, submitted to court that the investigation began in 2014 and since then no complaint had been made, alleging that the suspect obstructed the proceedings. After considering submissions from both parties, Colombo Chief Magistrate Asanka S. Bodharagama ordered that the suspect be released on on a cash bail of 50,000 rupees and 3 sureties of 1 million rupees each. The court also imposed a foreign travel ban on Wanyarachi. The case is scheduled to be taken up again on January 16th next year. In the meantime, former chairman of the Sri Lanka State Trading Corporation, Hussein Ahmed Baila, was arrested early today by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. The former STC chairman is accused of importing 50 temporary warehouses without necessity during his tenure, causing a loss of 99.67 million rupees to the government and an equivalent gain to external parties. The Bribery Commission produced the former chairman before the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court today, where Assistant Director of Bribery Commission Sulochana Hettiarachchi asserted that the investigation had been initiated on September 15, 2023, following a complaint filed by a civil society organisation. The Assistant Director further stated that the chairman had purchased the temporary storage units in 2015 on the instructions of then senior advisor to the Prime Minister Charitha Ratwatta to store paddy. She also noted that each unit had been purchased for $11,280. Attorneys representing the former STC chairman informed court that the purchase of the equipment had been made on instructions from the Prime Minister's office and that the suspect had delivered no personal economic benefit from the transaction. After considering the facts, the magistrate ordered the suspect to be released on bail and scheduled the case to be called again on January 24th. In another legal development, the chairman of the Kucheveli Pradeshiya Sabha, A. Mubarak, and his driver were arrested today in Pulmude, Trincomalee by the Bribery Commission for allegedly accepting a bribe of 500,000 rupees to issue a land permit. The investigation was launched after a woman from Mullatiu lodged a complaint revealing that the bribe had been solicited in exchange for a land permit. The suspects are scheduled to be produced before the Trincomalee Magistrates Court.
Drawing attention to the recent spate of murders and drug-related crime, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa claims that tyranny has usurped democracy in Sri Lanka. He made these remarks while addressing a public gathering held in Mavanella.
A meeting of the Samagijana Balawega Local Government Councillors Forum was held in Mavanella yesterday under the patronage of opposition leader Sajith Premadasa.
In all honesty, society today is gripped by fear. Underworld gangs and unidentified hitmen have taken over the country. The government has failed to control the situation. Despite all the boastful remarks and media spectacles, people commute to and from home with fear and uncertainty looming over them. The 22 million citizens of this country wonder whether they will be able to make it back home safely. It is the government's foremost responsibility to ensure the safety of its people. The government was elected to maintain the peace and uphold the law. However, your mandate has been taken over by underworld gangs and murderers who have generalized a culture of violence and murder.
Meanwhile, a group of representatives from the Veligama Pradeshiya Sabha met with the General Secretary of the Samagijana Balawega, Ranjit Madhuma Bandara, today. During the meeting, attention was drawn to future plans of the Veligama Pradeshiya Sabha along with development initiatives led by the Samagijana Balawega.
The General Secretary summoned these councillors to consult them on how to get the SJB-led Veligama Pradeshiya Sabha back on track towards prosperity. Now we must nominate a councillor as the chairman of the Veligama Pradeshiya Sabha. To do so, we must hold discussions with the other parties as well. Another election sanctioned by the Commissioner of the Local Governments must be held at the Veligama Pradeshiya Sabha within 6 weeks. It won't be easy since no one ever knows what the government would do.
Do what you do, let the world look up to you. Shoot what you see, be who you wanna be. Search with a smile, create your own style. Gemini Live, make moments come alive. Be anywhere, rock anytime. With awesome AI by your side. Be anywhere, rock anytime. Be brilliant, be always intelligent. Download fast, stream it all night. One tap, move, everything feel right. Snap it clean, edit like a pro. Smarter with Gemini, let the magic flow.
Introducing Samsung Galaxy A17 5G. The power to be always intelligent.
Welcome back. Now, an island-wide strike action to be launched by the Government Medical Officers Association at 8 a.m. today was called off this morning. The union action, which was initially proposed over the allegedly arbitrary transfer of doctors by the Minister of Health, was later withdrawn following a discussion with the Minister of Health as well as the Director General of Health Services.
The Government Medical Officers Association was scheduled to commence an island-wide strike action at 8 a.m. today, claiming that the Minister of Health is attempting to arbitrarily transfer doctors. The decision to launch the union action was taken yesterday. However, the GMOA called off the strike action following a meeting with the Minister of Health, Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa.
The Health Ministry was attempting to arbitrarily transfer certain doctors. The Central Working Committee of the Government Medical Officers Association last Wednesday decided to launch an island-wide strike action at 8 a.m. today if the transfer letters issued arbitrarily were not recalled. Accordingly, a discussion took place with the participation of the Director General of Health Services and the Minister of Health last night. During the discussion, agreements that we had with the previous Health Minister were brought into effect again. Thereby, the Executive Committee of the Government Medical Officers Association called off the strike today.
In the meantime, Minister of Health Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa was questioned regarding the proposed strike. The minister was questioned following an event at the National Hospital, Colombo.
Annual transfers were not properly implemented in 2016 and 2017. The previous Minister of Health had discussed a proper mechanism for systematic transfers. The Government Medical Officers Association will also be invited to take part in discussions from mid-November. All issues will be resolved then. These are not issues that should last long. The issue at hand goes beyond 10 years. We were able to identify certain doctors who had been employed at the same hospital for up to 17 years. There had been various kinds of arrangements to facilitate this back in the day. I would like to inform those doctors that their refusal to vacate these posts renders grave injustice to many others. No one can condone strikes launched within the health service. All issues can be resolved through discourse. We are ready to hold discussions at any time.
Now in other news, tourists travelling to Sri Lanka are not required to obtain electronic travel authorization prior to their arrival in the island nation. Issuing a statement, the Department of Immigration and Immigration yesterday claimed that it has withdrawn the requirement which came into effect on October 15, 2025. As per the new directive, all ETA and visa issuance services will continue to operate under the existing procedures until further notice. The statement went on to note that travellers may therefore apply for visa under the same process that existed before October 15th. India has been Sri Lanka's biggest inbound tourism market for the last 3 months, spanning July to September. Now, Sri Lanka Customs surpassed the 2 trillion rupee mark in tax revenue collection for the year as of last evening. Announcing this, Director General of Sri Lanka Customs Sivali Aruguda claims that the department is on track to meet its annual revenue target of 2.115 trillion rupees for 2025. This marks the highest tax revenue ever collected by a single government department in the country's history. Of the total revenue, 630 billion rupees were generated from motor vehicle imports. Sri Lanka Customs expressed confidence that it will exceed the annual target by around 300 billion rupees by the end of the year. Now, 4 fishermen who were rescued after being stranded off at sea for 14 days were brought back to the Hambantota port by the Sri Lanka Navy this morning. The multi-day fishing vessel, which was capsized due to adverse weather on the 16th of October around 350 nautical miles off the coast of the country after setting out to sea from Dondra on August 31st with 6 fishermen on board. One of the 6 fishermen on board reportedly fell into the sea and went missing, while another passed away about 11 days later. The 4 remaining fishermen were rescued by an Indonesian fishing boat and were later transferred to an Egyptian merchant ship. The Sri Lanka Navy Sidurala was dispatched yesterday to retrieve the fishermen taken aboard the merchant vessel after the government received information on them. The body of the deceased fisherman has been abandoned as the Egyptian ship declined to accept it. Now, the political arena heated up today over the opposition's plans to hold a public rally on the 21st of November in protest of the government.
These efforts have no impact on us. Those efforts don't impact us at all. Those who are politically sidelined crave attention. I think they desperately yearn to satisfy these political cravings. People are more focused on the country's rapid development and cultural transformation. They don't care about anything else at all. This is a request made by the public. Wherever we go, we are told that the opposition is silent. The 21st of November will go down in history as the day the opposition refused to stay silent. We invite all of you to invigorate the true voice of the opposition, which is yearned for by many people. Don't consider your image. I clearly claimed that the Samagi Jana Balawegaya will not take part in the rally scheduled to take place on the 21st in Nugegoda. The management committee of the party has taken a final decision in this regard. Those who will take the stage that day are against the government. We too oppose the government. However, it is a political rally. Each party has its own identity. Don't think too much about individual self-image or the promotion and the identity of your party. This has happened before. In 2015, during the Yahapalana government regime, there were 34 members of the United Opposition. The leader of the opposition and the chief opposition whip both supported the government. However, we fulfill the responsibilities of the opposition. Certain members of the opposition are unable to express their opinions over various reasons. We are a political movement with a thorough understanding of these concerns. Why have they postponed the rally until the 21st of November? If there are pressing concerns affecting the public as they claim, they could have organized the rally sooner. The budget is slated to be presented on the 7th of November. If so, they can protest against the government before the budget is presented. The postponement of the rally to the 21st clearly depicts that there is no unity within the opposition. The SJB has already refused to take part in the rally. Political parties have their own identities and they are capable of making independent decisions. Those who are willing to unite will unite, and those who are willing to remain independent can remain independent. It is too early to predict what will happen. There is no facility in place to develop basic infrastructure. This issue looms over every local government authority. Against this backdrop, we wonder how we can address this gap and serve the public. This is a challenge confronting us all. Revenue of a local government body is not sufficient to procure the necessary equipment. Funds allocated to finance salaries of local government council workers have been reduced by 20%, and it will be further reduced by 40% through the budget. Consequently, several issues pertaining to salaries will arise. We must find solutions to these issues.
Welcome back. Now, an agreement to mobilize a loan amounting to $90 million under the second integrated road investment program, Tranche 5, from the Asian Development Bank was signed today between the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Dr. Harshana Surya Peruma, and the ADB Country Director, Takafumi Kadono. The program is aimed at enhancing road transport efficiency by improving connectivity between selected rural communities while also strengthening the institutional capacity of national road agencies. The loan will support the upgrading of approximately 500 kilometers of rural access roads to all-weather climate resilient standards. The program will facilitate the rehabilitation of 21 kilometers of national roads and the maintenance of 100 kilometers of rural access roads. The Minister of Transport, Highways and Urban Development serves as the executing agency for the program, while the Road Development Authority functions as the implementing arm. The overall rate of inflation as measured by the Colombo Consumer Price Index on a year-on-year basis increased to 2.1% in October 2025 compared to 1.5% in September 2025. As per the latest data released by the Department of Census and Statistics today, the CCPI for all items for October 2025 was 193.8. The figure denotes an increase of 0.1 index points compared to 193.7 in September 2025. The year-on-year inflation of the food group rose to 3.5% in October 2025 from 2.9% in September 2025. Meanwhile, the year-on-year inflation of the non-food group increased to 1.4% rather from 0.7% the previous month. For October 2025, on a year-on-year basis, the contribution to inflation from food commodities was 1.12% and that from non-food items was 0.95%. Now, the Colombo Stock Exchange closed in negative territory today as a result of price losses in counters such as Bukit Daraan, Lion Brewery and Kazan Cumberbatch. The benchmark SPI lost 0.15% to close at 22,804.84, while the more liquid S&P Sri Lanka 20 gained 0.18% to end the day at 6,213.91. Market turnover was 5.6 billion rupees. Foreign participation in market activity remained at subdued levels, with foreigners closing as net sellers, offloading shares worth 892 million rupees. That's all for tonight from First at 9. For the latest developments around the clock, stay in touch with Derana. Thank you. Have a great night.